Determining appropriate pricing for electrical work, especially in residential settings, requires a nuanced approach that considers various factors. These factors include the type of work, either new construction or modifications to existing structures, material costs, labor, overhead, desired profit margin, and prevailing local hourly rates. Undercharging can negatively impact not only an individual's business but also the overall industry by devaluing skilled labor and services. For new work, a comprehensive pricing strategy should begin with a meticulous calculation of material costs. This involves identifying and pricing all necessary materials, including wiring, conduits, boxes, fittings, circuit breakers, panels, and any specialized components required by the project specifications. It's crucial to factor in not only the cost of these materials but also any associated expenses such as shipping, handling, and sales tax. Furthermore, appliances and fixtures, if part of the project scope, should be included in the material cost calculation. A common oversight is failing to account for all the small parts and consumables used during installation, such as screws, connectors, tape, and lubricants. These items, although individually inexpensive, can collectively add up to a significant expense. The next step is to determine the labor cost. This involves estimating the number of hours required to complete the job and multiplying that by the appropriate hourly rate. Accurately estimating the labor hours is critical and requires a thorough understanding of the project scope, complexity, and potential challenges. It's advisable to break down the project into smaller, more manageable tasks and estimate the time required for each task. This allows for a more precise overall labor estimate. The hourly rate should reflect the electrician's skill level, experience, and prevailing local market rates. It's essential to research industry averages for different skill levels, such as apprentices, journeymen, and master electricians in the specific geographic area. Beyond direct material and labor costs, it's crucial to factor in overhead expenses. Overhead encompasses all the indirect costs associated with running the business, such as insurance, vehicle costs, office rent, utilities, advertising, and administrative expenses. A percentage of the total project cost should be allocated to cover these overhead expenses. The specific percentage will vary depending on the business's size, structure, and operating costs. A common practice is to calculate overhead as a percentage of total revenue or direct costs. Finally, a profit margin should be added to the total cost to ensure the business is profitable. The profit margin represents the percentage of revenue that exceeds total costs and contributes to the business's bottom line. A reasonable profit margin typically falls between 20 and 35%, but this can vary depending on factors such as competition, risk, and the perceived value of the services provided. A higher profit margin may be justified for specialized or high-demand services, while a lower profit margin may be necessary to win bids in competitive markets. For old work, which involves modifications, repairs, or upgrades to existing electrical systems, a slightly different approach is often necessary. In old work scenarios, the scope of work may be less well defined, and unexpected challenges may arise during the project. For these reasons, it's often more appropriate to charge on a time and materials basis, meaning that the customer is billed for the actual hours worked and the actual materials used. When charging on a time and materials basis, it's essential to maintain accurate records of all time spent on the project and all materials used. Detailed invoices should be provided to the customer, clearly itemizing the labor and material costs. The hourly rate for old work may be slightly higher than for new work to account for the additional challenges and uncertainties involved. These challenges may include working in confined spaces, dealing with outdated wiring and components, and troubleshooting existing electrical problems. A 10 to 20% increase in the hourly rate is often justified for old work. It is also important to conduct research on prevailing local hourly rates. The hourly rate for electricians can vary significantly depending on geographic location, experience level, and licensing. Researching industry averages and considering these factors is crucial to setting a competitive and profitable hourly rate. Beginner electricians may charge $25 to $35 per hour. Journeyman electricians may charge $35 to $50 per hour, and master electricians may charge $45 to $65 per hour. These figures are approximate and may vary depending on local market conditions. A sample pricing structure might look like this. For residential new work, imagine a project with $1,000 in material costs, a 30% overhead and profit margin, which equates to $300, and 40 hours of labor at $35 per hour, which equates to $1,400. The total cost would be $2,700. For residential old work, imagine an hourly rate of $40 per hour and a time requirement of 15 hours. The total cost would be $600. There are several tips for determining pricing. Firstly, obtain a detailed scope of work from the customer. This helps to clearly define the project requirements and avoid misunderstandings. Secondly, break down the job into smaller tasks to estimate the time and materials accurately. This allows for a more precise and transparent pricing structure. Thirdly, factor in any unexpected costs such as permits or inspections. These costs can significantly impact the project budget. Fourthly, compare your pricing to competitors in your area. This ensures that your prices are competitive while still allowing for a reasonable profit margin. Fifthly, be transparent with customers about your pricing structure and provide a written estimate. This builds trust and avoids disputes. By following these guidelines, electricians can ensure they are charging a fair and competitive rate for their services while protecting the integrity of the industry. Accurately pricing electrical work is not only essential for individual business success but also for maintaining the value of skilled labor and services within the industry.